Please, we can sit now.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for so many important messages and thoughts. Yes, we have really short prep before this because we understood that we have so much to talk about. So we will be talking about running and marathons, right?
Of course.
Now, we joke that if we run out of the topics, we can always talk about something that makes us
smile.
Happy. Yeah. Okay, so what I really wanted to ask you even before this presentation, but I think you touched it a little bit during your speech. So we have here in the room people of different roles. There are some C-level people here, there are people who are being team members, and very often this value company needs to provide sounds a little bit imaginary. And how can we help everybody to really feel that they're contributing in the right direction and they're going where we want to go all together?
It's a process, to be very honest. We're sharing very openly our targets and our goals and objectives with all of our people, right? So all 140,000 people know the board members' goals. And then we break it down and we take also the serious discussion on when there is an injection of a good idea, how we drive value, we take that very seriously. And you need to have an environment where people are safe, right? Who speak up, right? And it's so important also to show your own vulnerability that people start talking. And if you have a session with 10 people, normally you have 3-4 people which are very external and talk a lot, but 7 don't. And you must really train yourself that you get the voice from the 7. Because most of them have a good voice and they give you values you don't hear in the normal discussions.
You touched here 2 topics we really love. I know that we wanted a lot to talk about safety in one of future QEDs or this one or whatever, but can you maybe I think that many people here are maybe not aware what safety is. It is not being secure that you will have your job no matter if you are working or not, right?
Yeah.
What does safety mean for you?
We believe that, especially in the time we are in, there are 2 dimensions which are very important to get to the real learning curve. One is psychological safety, so that people can speak up and make them also self-vulnerable and show what they learn from failures. And the other thing is empowerment. So that means how you get people really to take more ownership and more accountability to drive things. And it starts with leaders, right? To share really what we fucked up. And we do a lot, right? We do a lot. But it's, I know I screwed up one digital project where we drive really personalized pricing data. The algorithm worked perfectly. I still stated that, right? But the acceptance of the organization was 0. So the overall project gets really...
So it's important that you, Peter always says, you need to eat your own dog food, right? So you start with yourself, being open with your flaws and showing others that even if you made mistakes, you're still here. But I will get back to those silent voices, the people who are not open enough to speak. How do you solve that in the meetings? Is there a formula? Do you have like a way you deal with that, or it's again only the matter of minutes and this?
I think you have to learn to listen. And that's, for executives, it's really, really, really hard, I can tell you. Because you are so trained to talk, right? But really listen is a different skill. You need to really learn listening. Have you done with a peer 10 minutes just listening? You have to, you cannot say anything. Try it. It's so hard. 10 minutes just listening. You cannot answer, you cannot, nothing. Try it.
I'm trying.
But it's really hard.
No, but
It's really
I
hard.
absolutely agree with you. We had a couple of years ago, we have a workshop and we were doing some, it was a workshop for project managers and sales guys, and we were teaching them active listening.
Yeah.
And it's extra hard. It's in fact drill, like
Yeah.
running, for example, or something. You really
Yeah.
need to invest in that skill.
Yeah.
Okay, so you need to be dedicated.
And you need, maybe if you have really a team meeting, you need to, let's say, dedicate someone of the team who fosters the discussion into the ones who are not talking. Because sometimes you are so engaged in a discussion that you don't see that. But if you have somebody who is watching the discussion, it's like, wait a moment, please.
Great. So
Thomas.
it's something like chief listening officer.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah,
We can
it's a new
invent that.
phase. It's a new
Can
phase.
we write together a book about
Of course.
Okay. So, and so my second question that I prepared up front and we talked about it is, I mentioned a little bit Zoomers and Damir there, and we are both parents, so we have our own kids, and I know we spoiled a lot that generation. We all were a little bit afraid that we will not give them enough, so we gave them too much. But my feeling is that they are trained good to try to find a purpose.
Yeah.
So how do you see them fitting in this organizational cultures and transformation? Are they helping, or are they on the way of the transformation? How would you say?
They're helping a lot. And we injected in our organization, the executive committees, like me, right? We have all quarter a day with Gen Z people to have reverse mentoring.
Okay, cool. So
they are mentoring
you.
Me.
Great.
Exactly. So that's number one. Number two is, our purpose is connect for a better future, and this sounds normal for a telco company, but there is a very important sentence in for a better future, and we are looking for what are we doing for the planet, what are we doing for the digital society, and for the inclusion. And especially if you talk to Gen Z people, they want to understand what is their impact on the planet, on sustainability, and what is their, let's say, their impact on digital society or inclusion. So they want to have an active role into that. It's more than just a coder, it's more than just a single role.
But then coming back to what you said, how you answered on my first question is, if they are, for example, they really want to see that they are helping and that the company is being sustainable and that we are taking care about important things, then organization needs to really care and needs to do some actions.
Yeah.
So are you always really able to do what you actually commit to them? or this question we didn't, sorry.
Yeah, all good. I would say there's room for improvement, always, right? Because, if you look to the different generations, and I see that with my sons, right?
Yes.
Sometimes there's a miscommunication, not just because there's a difference in the generation, it's just we're talking different language.
Yep, we do.
So I would say we are on a good way, but there is still room.
But they are ready to stay and to contribute, even if the pace is not exactly what they were kind of hoping. So,
in big organizations, you have different level of speed, right? There is, I would say, especially in the development areas where we generate code, there's a high speed.
Okay.
If you look at hardcore billing systems,
yes.
I would say do not try and to do it too fast, right? Because you can screw up a lot. You need to balance. And especially if an organization, and we are already 30 years old, right? An organization gets also lazy. And you need to make always this kind of reinvention or reimagination of your company, to get it rolling again.
That's a great topic. We were discussing that in the car yesterday when we were driving here. We watched one session from a couple of years ago where the guy was talking about how companies have their level of maturity and they age as we are. Yeah. And so it's always kind of cringe, how Zoomers would say, if you act like you are younger or if you act like you are older. So how do you really reinvent it? How does company reinvent itself? Okay, I know that there is no one single answer for it.
There's not a single answer.
From your experience, how does that happen?
The beauty of diversity is such powerful. And it's not just male, female, right? It's between different thinkings, between different nations, between different attitudes and different generations. And as soon as you really imagine how much power is in that diversity and start to fostering that into the company, you see also this kind of
how it changes. I will just point out once more because I really love that listening. If you listen to the diversity you have in the house, there is a chance for you, right?
Absolutely.
Great.
Absolutely.
I have one more question, but maybe there are some questions from the audience. So, anybody brave enough? No? Okay.
Otherwise, we go down.
Yes. So you come from telco, and
yes.
there are a lot of people here who come from, for example, finance. We come from the IT industry, and we all deal with different and multiple end users. You said this nice story about your wife and 5G, and so we are kind of used to, again, to work with the diversity of our end clients. And we can see that currently in the market, there are a lot of turbulences, I would say, and nothing is really certain anymore. How can we preserve this value? What can we do in our roles, in our positions, to ensure in the future this security for the people and everything that's going to happen? How to look to the future?
First, you need to establish really frames like hackathons, IT Accelerator, or something like that, where you bundle internal people with startup companies, right? And ask question, which kind of problem you want to solve. And you let people work on a solution for that question, just for that question. Not on technology, it's just a question, how they should solve. And then you let them present and they demonstrate skills you haven't seen before. That's number one.
So reaching in your own potential, right?
Yeah.
In the potential you have in-house, but in structured way, with the very clear intention what you want to achieve.
Yeah.
Okay.
And combine them with startups.
Okay.
Right, which are really free in their mind, right, and they want to earn money with that question.
Okay.
And that's a different, let's say, entrepreneurial drive.
Cool.
Yeah, you have to pair that. Otherwise, you're eating your
You're
own.
being closed in a box without air. Okay,
exactly.
So opening
a box
and getting some air from. Okay. Okay.
But link it always to value you want to generate with that question.
Okay. Okay, I'm done with my questions. So once more, do we have any other? No, we don't need to. Oh, we have a question, Mario. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming here and speaking to us. It's quite impressive, I would say. So within the IT arena, maybe we have not that used to speak about value, although it is absolutely priority when you talk to stakeholders. That's the language they understand.
Correct.
However, we are used to speak about risk. So have you ever tried are you using the technique to basically reverse the two? So what is the risk that IT of Vodafone will not be able to deliver value tomorrow in either cybersecurity, but most importantly in this setting about AI? So what if we don't embrace AI fast enough? Is that going to be the downfall of the entire industry player because the others will just outpace you?
There is one sentence. In the COVID time, we had a huge professor in Berlin who was talking always about the situation, and there is no glory in prevention. And that's a true sentence, right? If you prevent something, there is no glory. But because you need your stakeholders understanding what can be the problem if you have, for example, a cybersecurity hack. What we are doing is every quarter, we are inviting our board members to a cybersecurity simulation where we run a ransomware attack, and they have to decide, including press conferences and informing all kinds of things, so they get the pressure. What's happening when this kind of, let's say, threat happens? And that's very healthy because they understand what's behind that, and they understand what the prevention means. And you need, especially to turn things like AI into, let's say, tangible things they can understand. And you see that at the moment at the breakthrough for ChatGPT, right? This kind of algorithms are already longer there, right? It's not just last month or the months before, but people have understood it now and see the power which is behind that, right? And now people are listening to things like, what does it mean for my area? How can I use that in my area? How can I co-pilot things also in the development area? Especially if you look to the software development area, it changes the world. You can write a code like this if you co-pilot with ChatGPT. And here is the other topic, but you need also to teach people that they are not getting so afraid, right? Because if you ask now people on the street what ChatGPT is doing, they will explain you, they do their homework with that, they're doing their first text with that, all these kind of things. But this algorithm is not trained that this, what it's generated, is true.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But people do not realize that. So you need also demonstrate what's the boundary of that kind of technology you're in. Because otherwise they think something which is not true.
Thank you for the
Thank
question, because this question is in fact a great announcement for, I will mention two panels. One is you will be together with Liana and Peter. Kresho will have tomorrow on the market as an indicator of value. And we will have on Tuesday a panel session about AI. So thank you a lot, Uli. See you again tomorrow. And once more, please, round of applause for our great panel. Thank you so much.
Thank you.